okay, if I can bring this in-house, I could charge
Here, by using a straight line angle, I can take 3 measurements around.
Coming to you live from Studio 3, beautiful Spanesi headquarters located in Naperville, Illinois. Welcome to Spanesi Interactive Week. This is Carl. Let me introduce you to the host, Mr. Tim Morgan.
Welcome to the first Spanesi Interactive Week. We're here in Studio 3 this morning to give you a little welcome, let you know how we got here, and we have an action-packed week for you here. 3 events scheduled every day for the whole week. How did we get to this point? We needed to get to you, the Spanesi family, our customers and clients, everyone who's interested in what we have going on and be able to keep up with the industry trends. So we thought, what better way to do it since we can't get together by the masses, to be able to put together some presentations from people within the industry, presentations by ourselves, demonstrations on the products, and get to you live. These are also are being recorded, so that you could go back and watch them at your leisure. You'll be able to find them on our YouTube page, Facebook page, and other areas that we'll have them placed. And I'd like to thank everyone who's tuning in. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. And my co-pilot over here to my right will feed the questions to me. Talking about what are we going to do today. So the first hour is with me. I want to talk a little bit about our schedule, what we got up and coming over the next week to get you ready to go. I want to talk a little bit about industry trends of what we're seeing and what's the hot buttons right now and where this week is going to take us with some of the hot buttons in the industry. I want to talk a little bit about our 360 concept. A lot of people don't realize that we have touch points that we have throughout the complete repair process. So I'm pretty excited to be able to bring this event to you. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Tim Morgan. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Spanesi Americas. I will tell you this, I have a face for radio, not for television, and definitely not for the internet. So what I'd like to do first is talk a little bit about what we see in the industry. If you see what's going on out there, first of all, the big buzz, obviously ADAS. And what's going on with the ADAS systems out there? What do we have to measure from a structural side to be able to do a complete repair process before we move into moving the vehicle to wheel alignment? And then how many shops are actually even prepared to take care of this ADAS situation? The vehicles are out there, they've been out there, and they're more and more every day. So we really need to look at what's going on with that situation. And that brings several of our, a couple of our business partners into play that will be with us this week. It also brings in some of our own equipment that needs to be used to make sure that the vehicle will go through an acceptable calibration or recalibration. We're finding that more and more because of the cameras in the windshield that we're having to work through being able to recalibrate that camera after a windshield's put in. And how often in a collision is the windshield damaged? It happens more often than not. So we need to make sure that we're looking at that. We all know also industry trends right now. There's some supply chain issues, if you want to call it, with parts. So one of the presentations we're going to do today is on our pull-up system, so that we can show you how to be able to straighten more parts using our glue pulling system than you thought you would be doing before, because of the fact that with the newer technology to be able to do glue pulling, we also have the ability to be able to save that part instead of having to wait for that part. Also, glue pulling will help you when it comes to not having to damage any corrosion protection, not getting it's so intrusive in the vehicle with having to remove interior panels and things like that. So using the glue pull system, we're going to find that it's going to be able to help us repair more than we've ever repaired before. We look at welding trends and joining trends, vehicle manufacturers being more specific now in what we have to do in welding when it comes to spot welding, when it comes to MIG welding. Is your equipment on that equipment list? Or if it doesn't require a certain brand, is that equipment qualified through the correct amperage, through the correct voltage to be able to do the repair correctly? Is the welder set up to be able to handle these repairs? So we're going to take you out in the shop area in our main Studio 1 later on. And we're going to be able to show you some of these processes and procedures, not just today, but throughout the week, doing live demonstrations. Pretty excited to be able to put this all together and do it. We have cameras placed in different locations so that we can make sure that you're getting all the right action shots. We have assembled a great crew here to be able to put this all together, and we got again, on my right, I have a good producer producing it all behind the scenes. Got to thank Carl for putting this all together. As he waves, even though his camera's not on. There he is. Now he's waving with his camera on. So we've worked behind the scenes here a lot to be able to put this together. I'm kind of turning into a rambling idiot here, if you want to call it, because I'm so excited. So I think we're just about ready to look at today's schedule. And if we look at today, key features besides the first hour with me is at 12:30, we have Jeremy Holloway, our Director of Technical Training, going to be with us, and he's going to explore Spanesi's universal jig system. And looking at today's vehicles, we're finding more and more that the vehicle manufacturer is requiring more than 4 anchoring positions. And besides the 4 anchoring positions, we're looking at not just the 4 anchoring system positions, because we need more than that. And pinch welds are not working in the rocker panel areas as they used to. So now we need to move farther in the vehicle and hold more points for an average of 6 to 8 points. And that's not on unibody cars. If you look at some of the construction of full frame vehicles today, we have the same situation where we're going to have to be holding in more positions to be able to do that. Then at 2 p.m. today, we're going to come up with being able to go live back in Studio 1. And we'll have Jeremy Holloway. Again, we'll have myself along with Brett Runyon, our sales and technical specialist, out working with the pull-up system, and show you both light duty repair and medium to heavy duty repair, since our glue systems work using up to 6 tons of pulling force. So you'll find that it's going to be a pretty action-packed day today. And then if we move into tomorrow morning, I'm pretty excited at 10 a.m. and these are on Central Time. We're going to have Ford collision repair review with Jerry Benani from Ford. He's their collision repair specialist. He's going to be here virtually with us, spend an hour to go over new procedures and new materials and new products that Ford is bringing forward. Then at 12:30 tomorrow, we have a part of the Spanesi family for about 4 or 5 years now, Mr. Louis Sharp, owner of Sharp's Auto Body, and also owner of a consulting firm that consults with all businesses on working with your employees and making your business operate more successfully. And then at 2 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to do blueprinting, measuring, and repairing with the Spanesi technical team, being Brett Runyon, our sales and technical specialist, Jeremy Holloway, our director of technical training, and myself as a moderator. So that's Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we'll have a special guest who's been in the industry a long time, very well respected, Mr. Frank Turlip. I got to work with Frank at a trade show about a month ago, looking at his new platform that he has out, which is releasing ADAS information, knowledge, and repair procedures. Pretty excited. Got to see it work at a trade show. And then also last week, as we were finalizing what was going to happen this week, it's a pretty powerful tool out there to be able to use right from your cell phone, to be able to get all the information to know exactly where you need to go for procedures and what you need to do for ADAS on any given vehicle. And then at 12:30 Central on Wednesday, we have Mr. Clay Hobart, owner of Best Body Shop. And he's going to be with us talking about some transitions that his business has been through in the past 12 to 18 months, where he was pre-COVID to post-COVID, and processes, procedures, and equipment that he put in place to be able to move his company to the next level. And then at 2 p.m. Central, we're going to, for the Business Owners Series, we're going to have a presentation on hiring the next generation of technicians with Mr. Doug Irish, Corey Millar, and Amber Ritter, talking about what I learned last week, the name Millennials? Not sure if you...
Yeah, that's a term that, where am I at? That's a term that I hadn't heard of before either. So
as we look into hiring and trying to keep staffed, which we're finding is a big problem in every industry right now, as you drive down the street, you see the help wanted signs everywhere, and not just hiring, but keeping your employees, your team together and working together to make sure that everyone is satisfied within their current position, so that you don't have to always be out looking for new employees. The whole thing is to build a team and keep that team together. It's just finding all the glue in between to keep it all pasted together. So that gets us through Wednesday. On Thursday, we're still trying to finalize our agenda. We may have to make a change, but tentatively we have Rivian to talk about their new electronic adventure vehicles, which they have already released. They have put together a really extensive collision repair network, procedures, tooling, and we're hoping to be able to get them on with us live to be able to do a presentation. And then at 12:30 Central on Thursday, a good friend of mine, a good friend of the Spanesi family, Mr. Ian Morton, owner of Fix Auto Thoroughbred and Fix Auto Sierra Vista. And we're going to have a discussion with him about productivity, about, again, employees, and what he's done in his particular business over the past couple years to be able to grow. And not just the past couple years, he has an interesting background of where he came from. And I think you'll really enjoy that segment. I know working with Ian over the past couple years, from the time when he was researching equipment to buy and processes to seeing what he's implemented, pretty exciting stuff. So then that's Thursday. So then on Friday we have a few things that we put together. And on Friday, we're looking at 10 a.m. Central, looking at welding and joining for OEM repairs.
I can't let you jump past this, Tim. We still have something on Thursday at 2:00.
Oh, did I miss Thursday at 2:00? I did.
2:00.
Sorry. Moving too fast. On Thursday at 2 p.m., straightening small, medium, and large damage. We'll be back out in Studio 1 with our Spanesi technical team, Brett and Jeremy and myself, showing information on small, medium, and large damage. Thanks, Carl. See, it's a good thing I got somebody to keep me in line. On Friday, then, we're going to look at 10 a.m. Central welding and joining for OEM repairs. Out in the shop area, in Studio 1, working with Jeremy and Brett, doing some live information on both MIG welding, spot welding, and looking towards what we see in the future and how we can support you there. Carl, what do we got for 12:30? On mine, it says to be determined.
Well, that's a great question. So we have a surprise coming at you for 12:30 on Friday. And I would hate to spoil it right now, but this is, again, another moving part, but I think it's going to be relevant to the industry right now and some of the things we're talking about with ADAS and calibration. So stick around. I will update the agenda just as soon as we get everything in place. And I have some more news for you. So stick around.
We're always moving forward. So I'll be pretty interested to see what you have for us there, Carl. So top secret. Mine says to be determined. And then at 2 p.m. on Friday, we're going to do a wrap up. We'll get all our people together on the technical side. All along, we'll be taking questions. About the last 15 minutes of every segment, we'll open up the chat for your questions. And my co-pilot over here will fire them off to all of us. And we'll get the group together to be able to answer your questions or get right back to you. And this interactive week is something that we're going to continue on a monthly basis, bringing the hot topics to the industry so that we keep you, our industry, ahead of the game. So if you have any ideas of a seminar or something you'd like to see or a special guest that you think that we should highlight, put it in the chat. You can always email me at tmorgan@Spanesi, that's SPANESI -Americas with an S.com. And we'll see what we can get on the schedule. And we'll get some things moving forward, getting communication out to you of what we're offering for that month. And this interactive is also going to help us move our technical training to the masses, because now having 3 studios, we have the ability to be able to take technicians live, work with them in a classroom setting, work with them in a podcast setting, and also work with them interactive in our Studio 1, which is our working shop. If you didn't realize, Spanesi Americas has a full working shop here in Naperville that we have spray booth, prep areas, we have twin post lift, We have all our benches, measuring, welding here. So we have the ability to be able to work through anything that you would need to work through. We've already launched a couple of pilots here where we've gone live and did some demonstrations and showed some different things to certain customers, where we had a customer call in and says, well, I can't have you in my shop, but I'm really interested in this welder. Can you show me how it works? So we go live with the customer and we walk him through a demonstration of how it works. And he's watching it right in his office without having to go anywhere. So we've really worked hard to be able to make this as interactive as we can. And as the industry moves forward, we can see that there is a need to be more virtual, if you want to call it. But I don't think hands-on training will ever go away. We're always going to have that hands-on segment where we get technicians here like we do once a month, sometimes twice a month, where we bring them in for a 2-day measuring course or a 1-day welding course or something like that, to where they can get some hands-on activities working in real life situations on real life cars. We don't just work on a prototype car or a body in white. We have full vehicles here also. So when it comes down to being able to diagnose something, we're working with real world vehicles, which is pretty cool. So let's look back again at what's happening in the industry. Biggest buzz I hear right now again is the supply chain of parts and materials. I think one of the things I can tell you that Spanesi globally did as soon as the pandemic started was made a huge investment to pre-order materials to make sure that we were able to still be able to support the industry. And I can say to date that minus a couple of slow containers, we have plenty of stock here. We have plenty of spare parts, and there's no waiting if you need product shipped to you. If you need supplies shipped to you that we normally supply, we do not have any break in our supply chain. And actually working with our partners in Italy, I found that they've actually ordered raw materials 2 to 2.5 years in advance, which that's a huge undertaking when you're trying to figure out where the industry is going to go, where your business is going to go. And pretty excited to be able to, like I said, minus a couple of slow containers, get orders in and out the door just in time for the customer to be able to move to the next level with them in the technology that they need. So when it comes to supply chain, our links are strong, all the way from Italy to the US to Mexico to South America to all points in the world. We have no problem supplying anything that we need to be able to get to our customers, our Spanesi family. So one of the other things that we boast about that we can do is our 360 concept. And I think the 360 concept that's out there sometimes gets mistaken that it's, well, what do you really do in the industry? Well, we do hit the paint segment through our spray booths, our preparation areas, our curtaining systems, our vacuum systems, all tools that would be used in the refinish side of the business. But when we look at the 360 concept, we need to start with the flow of the facility. So that starts with a blueprint of how to be able to make the facility correctly. Make the vehicles flow through the shop, working with the shop owner and shop manager to make sure that we are meeting the goals that they put forward. When you start to look at how many vehicles a day do you process in your paint department, then we can determine what do you need for spray booth? What do you need for preparation area? What do you need for the other tooling in the area to be able to put forth the right footprint before we even break ground on a building? If it's a green field, if it's a brown field, then we're going to turn around and we're going to get that blueprint, maximize that blueprint, making sure that not only do we have enough information to place equipment, but the key that's sometimes left out is moving the vehicles and moving the parts. So we need to make sure that we have enough room in the area for parts flow. We have enough room in the area that the vehicles can turn smoothly and there's no bottlenecks getting the vehicles through that complete paint department. We have our own body shop in Italy that runs very efficiently. And from that facility, we've been able to learn and evolve and work with customers all over the world to be able to use our 360 concept to come in, create the great work environment, not just with equipment, as I said, but also with the planning of the area, the planning and the flow of how things are going to move through the facility, and then also the training behind it to be able to work with the customer to make sure that they have the right tools with their employees. And by those tools, I mean processes and procedures that can help in every aspect of the business, from the time that the business brings the car in the front entrance of the building, typically into an area where it's going to be estimated or taken a look at, then move to where the vehicle is going to be cleaned and prepped to be able to go into a pre repair process to where we're going to blueprint the vehicle, identify all the parts that are necessary for the repair, and then move forward through the repair process of the non-structural damage, the structural damage, and then into your prep for paint, your reassembly, cleanup, detail, and in between, measuring the vehicle, correcting ADAS situations, correcting code situations. It's not just reset the code today. It's why did the code appear? And we know today, sometimes just by removing a bumper cover, we may disconnect a sensor that will then need to be recalibrated when we put the bumper cover back on. So all of these are things that we take into consideration when we're looking with our 360 concept of how to make the best box, if you want to call it, of a facility to be able to get things in and get things back out with, as I guess you would say, as painlessly as possible, so that we can get the customer back into their vehicle and driving down the road again, and keeping our efficiencies, our contact time as high as we can on the vehicle. You're going to find in a seminar that we're going to do later on this week, when we talk about average contact time on a car, it's only about 1.8 hours per day. That's just not enough to be able to facilitate quick, proper repairs. And the average repair taking up to almost 13 days now to be able to get the average vehicle through the shop. And we're only talking about somewhere between a $2,600 and $3,200 to $3,400 repair. So we need to find a way to be much more efficient than we can with that. We've actually, even in our own facility, our own body shop, gone through and revamped the complete body shop to be able to make sure that our processes in our own facility worked before we could take those processes out. So we actually do use our full body shop facility that we have in Italy also as a prototype shop for new pieces of equipment, new processes and procedures to make sure that what we're doing is proven before it's put out in the marketplace. That's a lot to take in. And we look at what we have to work with from quality products, all manufactured at our manufacturing facility in Italy, brought to every country in the world, from our measuring system, our benches, our polling systems, our spray equipment, all those items that we put in a facility, we make sure that there's a training process around it, and not just a training process, but a philosophy of how and why it works the way it does. That's how we've been able to take some of the customers that are going to be on with us this week and talk about their productivity. That's where it all comes from, is the background that we have and our knowledge and experience of the industry so that we can help move you forward. Carl, I got to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I hate to call you out on this, but do we have any film we could roll of maybe the factory, or are we too soon for that?
Well, we have it, but you got to give me just a second.
Okay. All right. While you're working on that, then I'm just going to continue to move forward talking about efficiencies of lean manufacturing that have been in our industry they've actually been in all industries for a number of years, dating back to the 50s and 60s, and how you can implement it into your shop to be able to be as efficient as possible to be able to work. And that would be like point of use tools. I want to have the tools that I'm going to use in that particular segment or that particular repair area. I want all the tools I'm going to use in that area. And I want them lined up in a fashion that I can be able to access them very easily in order to be able to do that repair. There's nothing worse than having to search a shop to find a tool. Nothing worse than having to search a shop to find some supplies. And that's why you'll see, looking at facilities that we work with customers 100% on, we turn around and try and implement those types of things to be able to bring to market their product, which is properly repaired vehicles, in a timely fashion. And so when we look at that, even in our own plant, we have worked with those philosophies to make sure that when we are building a spray booth, everything is in its place from the time it's designed to the time that the materials come into place, to the time that the materials are manufactured, to packing the materials, to shipping the materials. And the processes that we use are one of the most modern in the industry. And I'm got Carl on the spot here now. So as soon as we can get this video up that you can actually see, you will be able to see just a couple of things in our plant to show you just how intense our manufacturing process is. Bar none, when you look at machinery being used, the processes, the tooling that's there, the movement of the raw materials, bar none, the best and the most efficient in the industry.
I'm still working on it.
You're still working on it.
I'm still
I guess
working on it.
that's what you get with an interactive live situation is it's always fluid. So, and I can see out in the shop area and in Studio 1, because from Studio 3 here, we have some nice windows that we can see out to see what's going on in the shop area. The guys are already prepping for the next session that's going to be out there. There was a lot of prep here last week to be able to put things together. So we're really excited about what we have to bring to you. Other industry trends that we see that's out there, when you start to look at how to do a better blueprinting process. We look at doing a better blueprinting process, we need to make sure we're measuring the vehicle so that we can make sure that we have all the right information up front. And you're going to see a demonstration this week of how to be able to add measuring to the blueprinting process.
Okay. I'm telling you, here we go.
Yeah, I'm going to need a little extra makeup up there, Carl. You're sweating. Pretty quick clip, but you got to see some different things inside our factory. You got to see some of the locations that we're operating from, again, in over 100 different countries. Now, how can we slip Carl up next? So we're getting to about the 41-minute point here, and we're going to open it up to some chat questions. If something comes up in the chat there, Carl, just let me know. But I just wanted to give you a preview again of what we have this week. There's several different presentations because we put together a technical series so that there's something technical every day. And then the business series so that you have some things from other opportunities that are necessary in your shop that you may be struggling with and you don't know how to get the answer. We've looked around and tried to find the answer. That's why we have some of these special guests coming in. And then our OEM segment, working with some OEM manufacturers to make sure we work closely with the OEM manufacturer when it comes to using the data that they supply from blueprints. We start with that information. We also measure vehicles on our own, and we also have the Mitchell data that we also mix to be able to make the proper data information for both our universal jigs and our touch measuring system. And our technical department is constantly working with the vehicle manufacturers to make sure that that technical data has in it points and locations to measure and to fixture, looking at what the repair procedures on the vehicle are. And you're going to see tomorrow with the presentation from Jerry Bonani that we've actually taken our data, working closely with Jerry and his team to make sure that where he has a sectioning procedure, we have measuring locations, we have fixturing locations to make sure that that vehicle can be put back to a proper repair following those OEM repair procedures. And we do the same with every manufacturer that we partner with.
So we have a question that came in through the chat Q&A here. So the question was, and I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna add a little bit to it because I think it's a valid question, and there's a lot of us that are actually looking at what this is doing to our business. So the question is when do you see these parts issues being alleviated? And I think it goes to a much greater global supply concern, not only affecting vehicle manufacturers, but manufacturers in whole. When do you see this kind of straightening out?
I wish I could have an answer of when the part supply would be better, but I don't work for the vehicle manufacturer to have the correct answer. I do know if we look at what's going on out there with all the containers that are stuck in Long Beach, I myself never realized why the port didn't operate 24/7 like they do in the rest of the world. The ports that we export from in Europe are working 24/7. I would think that that would have been going on here long ago, but I guess it hasn't been. Every shop has struggled with certain manufacturers trying to be able to get parts. But last week I was in a customer's facility, and he said he had been waiting more than 8 weeks for a certain structural panel that the car's just sitting there, and the owner is in an extended rental because they can't get the panel that they need to be able to put on the car. You look at the chip shortage that they talk about for the electronics in the car. That's not just hitting the automotive business. That's hitting the electronics business. That's hitting the people who want to go out and buy a new television. I was grocery shopping Saturday. I was amazed at the shelves, how empty they were. We've never seen this well, I'm nearly 60 years old. I don't remember ever going to the grocery store and not being able to find my favorite Gatorade or my favorite Monster.
Well, I will tell you that when I was putting together the backbone for this facility, for these studios, having a hard time finding audio mixers. And that's something I never thought we would have an issue with. Never, ever, ever.
Well, and several times you came to me and said, well, hopefully this is going to arrive in time. And that becomes an issue. And I think that's why Spanesi stepped forward in the beginning of this whole pandemic and was forward thinking enough that, hey, we better think farther down the road to be able to have guarantees, to be able to get raw material.
Well, it makes sense given what we're doing right now. We have a full North America, frankly, South Central, and
we go wherever we need to go. Canada, Mexico.
It's we got to make sure that our customers and we have spare parts and the whole thing. It's just not a new bench.
Well, yeah, you're exactly correct there. And if you look at the inventory that we've always kept here, even though you may have seen a downturn in business last year because of the inability to be able to get out and meet with customers and that type of thing, our business never stopped. We were still here supporting our customers. We were still importing all the goods that we needed to import. Our import times have been taking a little bit longer, and they're surely costing us a lot more. I can't believe what has happened with air freight costs. I can't believe what's happened with container costs. But when you look at the global market, this has been coming for a while. And the reason I say it's been coming for a while is because in our market here, and I know this broadcast is going out globally, but in our market here, we import so much goods from China. And about, I want to say 3-4 years ago, the largest export container company in China went bankrupt. And the biggest problem we hear in Chicago at the Chicago port is they don't have enough chassis. The containers are stacked up. They don't have enough chassis to be able to move the containers. I do know also that because of the backup of all the containers that are sitting out on ships and in ports, they're not out being able to be reloaded. So there is a container itself shortage. Not to mention that I hear that there's a shortage of truck drivers. I don't know how true that is. We have truck drivers at our door every day, but I do know dealing with our freight company that does deliver our containers, it's always a struggle of how long a container can sit. Getting the goods to our facility, we're given an hour to be able to unload the container, and they're gone. That's not like you can leave the goods sit in the container unless you got a lot of money in your pocket to pay for the storage.
So the next question that came in through the chat window was, and I'm going to quote here, where does Spanesi's equipment really come from? Is it Italy or is it somewhere else?
It actually comes from Padova, Italy. And it doesn't come from anywhere else. When you look, though, at some of the components of the spray booth, we actually manufacture some of those materials here right in Chicago. Our burners are made here. Some of the electronic parts are made here. Final assembly of our benches are done right here in our facility here in Naperville. So it does come from Italy. Fine Italian goods, Carl.
I love Italian goods because I tell you what, there's the quality with the Spanesi product has always been one of the things that I've touted over and over again to our customers, and I've seen it work for them. You know, just the quality of the workmanship, and I just want to throw in here, since I have you, the question was, and forgive me, the question was, is Spanesi Americas a single location or do you have multiple locations?
Well, we do sell through distribution. So we have distributors throughout the country. We have partnered with several locations for training centers. We do also have an office in Mexico City that was opened up in January of 2021. And we have an office also outside of Toronto, Canada. It was opened up over 2 years ago. So we work from multiple locations. Logistically, we warehouse in several locations to be able to get to the marketplace faster. That answers the question.
I think it does. And we're coming up on we have 8 minutes left in our session here. There's a comment here, and I don't know if it's good for this session but they asked it, so I want to make sure and get an answer for them. They said, I'm not doing a lot of benches, or not a lot of big hits anymore. I'm just doing small stuff. Why do I need a bench? What do we?
Well, maybe you don't need a traditional bench. Maybe you need something that we're going to show you in one of the other segments. And actually, they're going to be using it in 2 different segments. They're going to be using it in the straightening segment. That's going to be on Thursday at 2 p.m. They're also going to be using the same multi-bench this afternoon when they're doing the pull-up demonstration. One of the things I see as another industry trend is every time I've ever walked through a service department, you notice that every technician has a lift. And you walk through the body shop and you don't see the lifts. And you see the guys down on their knees. They're on the floor scrambling around underneath a car, trying to take a bumper cover off, trying to change a fender. If they were on a multi-bench, which is a product we're going to show later on in another segment, everything they need to do on that vehicle can be done. If I need to make a quick pull, I can put a tower on. If I need to change a bumper, I'm up off the ground and I'm working ergonomically. As we see today, the aging workforce, our aging workforce is making us have to look at easier ways to be able to help the technician out. So maybe I don't need a full-blown big fixture bench. Maybe I need a multi-bench because the repairs that I'm doing are in that sweet spot segment of $2,600 to $3,400 in repair, and that's about 77% of everybody's business. So maybe if you're not specialized in those vehicles that require that you have to do heavy hits, it's not something you need, but you may need a different type of bench.
And that's very true. And the way that these vehicles are as far as the structure, the construction materials and everything used in them are just changing rapidly. And that's a big concern if you're going to invest in equipment. What do I invest in? Obviously, it's going to get me through the long haul and not just till tomorrow.
Well, we can take, for instance, if you look several years back when one vehicle manufacturer was going to bring out a vehicle in aluminum, and everyone was scrambling to figure out what did they need to purchase to qualify to be able to fix that aluminum vehicle. We quickly told our customers, slow down. Let's look at your estimating system to see how many of these current model vehicles that you're repairing before you turn around and go and make a huge investment for a vehicle that you barely see in your facility. So back to that question, I don't really need a big heavy bench. He's pointed out his own answer that yes, in his market, in what he's doing in repairs, he or she doesn't need a big, huge bench. What they need to do is they need to look at what are the repairs. And that's what we do when we come in and analyze and work with our clients is we don't just go in there just to sell them a bench. We want to go in there and find a solution of what works correctly for them with the market segment of vehicles that they're working on and with the types of repairs that they're doing.
Well, that's a great answer, and I've actually run out of questions in the Q&A. Is there anything? We have 3 minutes left in our hour.
3 minutes left in our hour. Let's see. Can I get you to put up another video? No. I can tell you this: we are live and we are fluid. And being that this is our first launch, we've made it through the first hour, I guess you'd say. Many more to come. Hope to see you back at 12:30 this afternoon for our session at 12:30, which is going to be exploring our Spanesi Universal Jig System. And that will be also covered with Jeremy Holloway, our Director of Technical Training. And it's actually going to be an actual technical series of how to be able to read the data sheets, how to be able to set up the fixtures. And it's going to be a pretty action-packed. And then at 2 p.m., we're going to go back live again at 2 p.m. with panel straightening using Spanesi's pull-up repair system. So, Carl, I'd like to thank you for getting us through this first hour of steering over there and with all your buttons and moving the cameras around and going from studio to studio. Pretty excited about this again. I do know that I do have a face for radio, not for television or the internet for that matter. So thank you everyone for joining in. We're just getting started on this. If you got any comments, put them in the chat. Send us an email. We'd really like to know your feelings of what you'd like to see. Have a great morning.
They say things are changing in the automotive industry. New technology, computers, self-driving vehicles. From where we stand, we see our future and our past. The Collision Repair Education Foundation supports educational programs, schools, and students, working to create qualified, entry-level employees ready for the career opportunities our industry provides. But we can't do this mission without you. Each year, the foundation works to connect corporations and individuals to schools and students across this country. By being a part of our mission, you become an amplified force of leadership, reaching students, instructors, and community businesses in every corner of the industry. From where we stand, together, we see our community evolving and supporting each other. We see connections being forged in fire and fostered with trust. Connections that live long past graduation day. Connections that form the foundation of our workforce and shape the future of collision repair. Your support not only provides the much-needed resources for instructional education, but builds local communities by facilitating a sustainable workforce. A workforce trained in tradition, but equipped for the future. Learn more about how you can impact the collision repair industry yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Thank you.